साई शंकर दया करो। साई शंकर दया करो। गुरुदेवा प्रिय देवा साई देवा दयामया। गुरुदेवा प्रिय देवा साई देवा दयामया। विभूति सुंदर शशांक शेखर। विभूति सुंदर शशांक शेखर साई शंकर दया करो। साई शंकर दया करो। साई शंकर दया करो। गुरुदेवा प्रिय देवा साई देवा दयामया। गोकुल नंदन साई गोपाला। गोकुल नंदन साई गोपाला। रघुकुल भूषण साई रामा। रघुकुल भूषण साई रामा। हे मदनांतक दया करो। हे मदनांतक दया करो। गुरुदेवा प्रिय देवा साई देवा दयामया।
Om Sairam, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Pathway to Prashanti episode. My name is Avinash Jayashankar, and I'm a young adult from the Sai Centre of Auckland City. It gives me great privilege to introduce tonight's guest speaker, Sister A. Sai Venkata Lakshmi. Sai Venkata Lakshmi, who is a scientist and engineer by profession, is the head of artificial intelligence and machine learning systems at the Advanced Data Processing and Research Institute with the Department of Space, Government of India. She studied at the Sri Sathya Sai Higher Secondary School and completed an honours degree at the Sri Sathya Sai University of Higher Learning. Following this, she completed 3 master's degrees in science, philosophy, and technology from various institutions. Sai Venkata Lakshmi is involved in the design and development of solutions in areas of geospatial technology, databases, remote sensing, advanced data processing, and exploitation systems for satellite imagery using artificial intelligence and machine learning. Her parents were associated with Swami even before she was born. Her mother was a Bal Vikas teacher, a regular Servadal member, and would regularly attend centre activities and polio camps in Vishakhapatnam. Later, their house became the hub for regional bhajans, centre meetings, and Narayan Seva. After retirement, her parents settled in Puttaparthi. Her father was involved in the construction of the museum. Sai Venkata Lakshmi was invited to speak at the Triennial National Conference of Indian Women Scientists Association in 2009. She is the recipient of many awards across India and the globe, and has been recognized for her outstanding contribution to the field of geospatial technology. Tonight, she will be speaking about her golden moments with Sai. I'm sure you all will enjoy. Om Sai Ram.
Om Shri Sai Ram. My humble pranams at the lotus feet of our dear Lord. Respected elders, dear sisters and brothers. Sai Ram. I am grateful to Swami for giving me this opportunity to speak today. It is always a wonderful pleasure to remember the wonderful memories we had with Swami and the lessons that we learnt at his lotus feet. Swami was a chancellor of Sri Sathya Sai Institute of Higher Learning. There were so many colleges and schools, and there are colleges and schools under this university. And Swami always stressed on education for character. He offered a holistic curriculum, a holistic way of life, which included, along with studies, Vedas, games, music, and so many extracurricular activities. World-class education is being imparted in the university. And then come our hospitals. We have the super specialty hospitals, the general hospital, and so much care is being given and so much love is being given in these hospitals. And treatment is totally free. And then we have the drinking water machines. Swami was involved in so many of these important major projects which have, benefited and enriched the lives of millions of people over the globe. And yet, Swami can connect to us at a very personal level too. My first contact with Swami at a physical level was in my mother's womb. My parents were devotees of Swami, and every year my mother would go to Puttaparthi for Sevadal duty. And so it happened that when I was in her womb too, she didn't want to miss. And she went to Parthi, and there were very few rooms there. And my mother tells me that She had tied me in a cradle. For a cradle, she had tied this bedsheet to a tree, and my brother would take care of me while she would go for her duty. And on the last day, Swami had called all of them to Purnachandra Auditorium, and Swami had given her Padnamskar and blessed her. And she would tell me that Swami's grace is on you from then. When Sri Sathya Sai Primary School started in Puttaparthi, I was one of the fortunate few to be joined in the school in the first batch. So in the earlier days, Swami would come very often to school, and he would be like, he would just come in at any time of the day. So there were some days when he would come when the school was going on, when the classes were going on, and he would walk into any classroom randomly, and in his tiny little frame he would fit into the bench meant for the school children, and he would sit there and he would listen to the teacher, and he would observe the other children, their expressions, are they following or not. And after some time he would get up, bless all of us, bless the teacher, and go. And then sometimes he would come during the lunch hour, and then he would walk into the dining hall and open the lid of the vessels, and he would emphasize to our kitchen auntie that make sure there is less spice and less oil in the food. The children should be healthy and they should all be able to eat. And sometimes we were fortunate enough that Swami would even eat with us. So we would sit in these rows and Swami would be there, and Swami hardly ate anything, but he would be observing like this, that how are the teachers serving us, and then are the children eating or not. And these are wonderful golden moments that we spent with him. And Swami says, my life is my message. And seeing him, we learned so much. So sometimes Swami would even serve us, some dry item like a laddu perhaps, and he would bend and serve all of us. And we have seen even during the Annadanam how Swami serves. So we never felt that, he is some a great person high up there. It was like he just mingled with us, and it was like one of us. And he made us feel so comfortable. In fact, even before our exams, just like our parents, he would make us feel comfortable, bless us, and distribute pens. And it was just really there for us through all the times, So I can recall one early memory when the holidays had come and my parents were delayed to pick me up for some reason. We were very few of us and we went for darshan. And I was a little sad that my parents were not there yet. And then when Swami came out for darshan, you can imagine, there are so many people waiting for his darshan, and big, small, all kinds of issues. And then Swami came out and he came to me and said, why are you sad? Am I not taking care of you? And those days he would distribute chocolates, when the children or when adults had birthdays, they would hold chocolates and trays, and Swami would merrily distribute these to all around. So he literally filled my lap with a lap full of chocolates that I could have just eaten through the whole night. And I was so touched that such a small thought of such a small child, and Swami knew. And that day I felt that no thought or no difficulty is too small for Swami to know. And he knows all of us and he knows all our issues. And I was so grateful to him for being such a loving parent. Needless to say, my parents came and picked me up the next day. And actually, I was happy they had delayed because I got this wonderful opportunity with Swami. And then we were basking in his grace and we were growing up. And then we came to our 10th standard. So 10th, as you know, in India is a big thing because you have this CBSE board and you work very hard, and there's a common paper throughout the country. So we all worked hard, the teachers worked hard, and we wrote the exams also very well. And we were all waiting for that day of the results. And then our headmistress came and she told us that 40% of the class had failed in a subject. The marks were like weird, like it was like 1917, 1917, continuously. And then there were four of us who failed in two subjects. And this was like unimaginable because we had put so much effort and we had actually written also quite well. And then we didn't know what to do, and auntie said, let us go to Swami, because when you feel helpless, you've done all you can, then Swami is a person to go to and who can really tell us what to do. And then Swami came ever so lovingly. He came to us and he said, don't worry, computer mistake, all have done well. And that one smile of his, that one assurance of his, we were relieved and we thought, okay, Swami, so it's going to be fine. And a couple of days later, our results came and all of us had done very well. And in fact, I had, got this NCERT scholarship from Government of India for being in the top 0.1% of the whole country. So that was, Swami's standards, Swami's what shall I say, love and care that through himself and through his teachers that we got. There was no coaching, nothing. It was just the commitment and the dedication and the expertise and the love of the teachers and of Swami actually. Then a few years later, my father was admitted in super specialty for a small surgery. And my brothers were going there to talk to the doctor the previous day to understand, what are the things to take care of. And while they were going, it was an open jeep, and I guess the driver was going very fast, and he was taking a turn, and there was another truck coming from the other side, and he tried to swerve. The jeep just somersaulted multiple times in the air. And all the people there were thrown out. Now, by the time we came to know about this news and we went to the hospital, we see that both brothers are in a room and one brother has had a bad fracture of the hand. And they said he should not lie down for at least 4 to 6 months if he expects that his arm should heal. And then the other brother is lying flat on the cot and he is told he should not move if he wants to walk again because he had a severe fracture in the lower back. And the doctor said that it is risky whether you do a surgery or not, and unless it heals correctly, he will not be able to walk and he will be paralyzed. To this extent that if he wants to sneeze, he would tell us, and 4 of us would hold his hands and legs, so that he can sneeze without moving. Now in all this, we are praying to Swami, and of course the doctors are treating. My father was waiting for darshan, and when Swami came near him, he could not open his mouth. He was just so overwhelmed. And Swami came, and Swami doesn't need us to tell him anything. He just knows everything. He came, he put his hand on his shoulder and he said, they will be fine. You give them this vibhuti, and he materialized vibhuti and gave it to my brothers. And then of course with physiotherapy and with the medication and care, both of them recovered and became totally normal. Later, even after we came out from Parthi, Swami is always there with us, wherever we are. Not necessarily that you have to be, in physical proximity to him to, know his grace and to know his love. So I was studying. I was doing my M.Phil in Central University in Hyderabad, and we applied for this ISRO interview. So I gave my interview, and then they told us that it may take 3-4 months for the result to come. So I gave the interview, and then I took a break for a month perhaps, because it was holidays for the university. And then when I went back, perhaps after 10 days, suddenly my friend told me, there was a letter for you when you were not there. I took it and I forgot. Today I was cleaning my cupboard and I saw it, so you take it. And then I opened this, and I'm so happy to see, it is this letter of appointment from ISRO, and it was like an elite organization and a government of India enterprise and space, and who would not like it? So I was so happy. And then I read to the bottom of the letter, and there I see that the date for joining and registering at the office is crossed. And I'm like, oh my God, what to do? And definitely no one wants to miss an opportunity like this. Then I just close my eyes and I'm thinking, okay, what shall I do next? Swami, please guide me. And this professor comes and he says, what happened? It's like lunch hour actually. And then he comes and he says, what are you doing here? Why are you looking dull? And I said, no, like this appointment letter and the date is crossed. And he was like, which office? Then I tell him. And he says, I know somebody at that office. He's quite a senior person there. You go and talk to him. I'm sure it will be sorted out because it was not a mistake of yours. And you take the ticket with you that you went out of station and all. I'm sure they'll understand. And then I went, and it was like, you call it a coincidence, you call it a messenger from God. And I went and met that officer, and things were sorted. And I have been working in ISRO ever since. So just to say that when we put our efforts, Swami takes care. You do your best and just pray to him, and he will help you. He will find, he will guide in his own unique ways. Actually, he will guide us. And in fact, there was one time when I was in the hostel in same Central University, and I wanted to go home. My parents were in Parthi, so after they retired, they settled in Puttaparthi, and I wanted to go home. And then one professor kept an exam actually on Monday, first hour. And I was feeling so bad we could not go because it is very difficult to come back and you're going only for the weekend. And it is an overnight journey. Then I was feeling so bad, but anyway I thought my studies are important, my duty is important, and I was studying. And there was one small shop which was near the ladies' hostel, which is the nearest one if you need to buy some groceries or something, like soaps. And I went there and really missing meeting Swami, meeting my parents. And I went there and I see this huge photo of Swami that they have put over there. And I'm like, seriously, I have come here so many times and it wasn't there, I'm sure of it. And I asked him, what Bhaiya, what is this? You are a devotee of Swami? And then he says, I just went to Parthi and came. And I don't know why, I felt like getting this photo. Swami is just looking at you. And he said, I don't know, I was so happy. I'm so glad I could visit Parthi and I felt like getting this. And I felt that everyone who comes here to the shop will see Swami and be happy. And I was like, okay, Swami, you help in your own way and you show your love in your own way. And more recently, actually, I was going on a trip I wanted to go on a trip to Kailash. And the preparation starts almost 4 to 6 months before. And you have your medical checkup and all other issues. And then just a month before, I needed to undergo a surgery, a small one. And then the doctor suggested not to go. Then I was like, I really badly want to do this. And then she said, okay, you go, but you take care that you don't carry heavy weights, take some precautions, and otherwise you go. Then I went because I wanted to go, but still I was a little worried that something should not happen because it's high altitude and really cold weather. So people do tell you like about the complications that can happen, and a little worried. However, I went. I undertook the journey, and there, just before Kailash, we stopped at a hotel, and we were like just entered, and I see these big banners all over the place of Atirudra Mahayagya and photos of Swami and Shri Baba. And I'm like, okay, Swami, thank you again. You are here again for me, and I felt so comforted and relieved. And of course, I completed the journey. It was a wonderful experience to experience Kailash. Um, and then we were back doing our daily routine. So this is not to say that you should remember Swami only during the troubled times. Though of course, when we are troubled, we remember the ones closest to us, the ones dearest to us. So Swami is there for us during the happy times and the sad. In fact, he always puts others before him. Actually, I remember once. Swami had just recovered from the fracture of his hip, and then he was distributing prizes to us. We were studying in Anantapur then, so he was distributing prizes to Anantapur girls in the prayer hall. And he was standing and distributing the prizes one after the other, and all of us are eager to get a prize from him. But at the same time, we were thinking, Swami is standing for so long. And then our warden told Swami, please sit and give the prizes. They would want to take from you, but we don't want you to stand for so long. And then Swami gleefully said, I'm not pregnant, I will stand and give. And he stood the whole time. I guess whether it was etiquette or his commitment, and he was like, no, I will do it. Actually, there was another time when I was hesitating to learn cooking, and my mother would tell me, no, you must learn. No, you're good at studies, that is okay, but that is not the only thing. So you have to learn everything. You have to learn other things too. And she told me 2-3 times, and then just to stop her kind of nagging me, I said, okay, I will learn. And what is the easiest thing to make? So she told me the rasam. It is a South Indian delicacy with tamarind and spices. So I learned that, and I was happy after having done it that okay, it's fine. And that night, I get this dream where we are in the dining hall of school, and Swami has come, and Swami is serving us. Only this time, it is not a dry item. Swami is serving us with a bucket of rasam, and then he is literally looking me in the eye, giving that mischievous smile, and then serves me rasam and goes. And I just get up and I say, okay, Swami, you know even this. So I really started learning to be more careful about the thoughts that I have on a daily basis about anything and everything. And it's like, okay, Swami knows this too, and became really more conscious. And the thing is, your experience of life changes when we are so conscious now that Swami is there and Swami knows, and Swami is just there next to you and just seeing everything you do and knowing everything you do. It is a different experience. And once when my mother had come to pick me up, she was waiting in the lobby and just waiting for me to come and get my luggage. She was observing our headmistress. It was the fag end of the day, and our headmistress is instructing one teacher about something to do. and then there is another child who's crossing, and she just stops her and says, "What child? What happened? Why are you looking sad? Anything wrong?" And there's another teacher waiting to talk to auntie. And then my mother is amazed and she says, "Really, auntie, what is it that gives you this much energy at the end of the day? You are, so active and so involved and so committed." And auntie said, "What is there? No, this Swami has given the responsibility of taking care of his children to me, and I must do it to the best of my ability every single moment. And Swami knows, Swami is seeing what is happening, so I have to be my best always, every moment." And I felt this is a lesson that we all must learn, that Swami is there in whatever work we are doing, whether it is at home, whether it is in office, whatever we are doing every day. It is, if we feel it is Swami's work and we do it, we do it so well and we do it the best we can, and automatically, most of the time, the results are also much better, and generally it's a happier place for us, right? Now, how do we, feel that how big is Swami's influence in our life? So I would like to tell about this story, where this boy asks his father about how big is the aeroplane. And then this boy sees the aeroplane up above and says, "Oh, it's so small." And then later that evening, his father takes him to the airport and he says, "Oh, it's so big." So what is the difference? How did the size of the aeroplane change? It didn't. It was just how close you were to it. And so is it with God, that the closer we are to Him, the bigger His influence in our life. And how do we make Swami a big influence in our life? By reading his discourses, by listening to his bhajans, reading books, doing seva activities. And like when we are reading his books or listening to his discourses, then try to implement something. Take one thing that appeals to you and practice it in our everyday life. And it will just, really change it in a way that is inexplicable. In fact, my dad did this, that he was short-tempered is what I heard from my brothers and sisters. And he knew it, that he should control his temper. And he used to keep reading Swami's books. And then he felt, okay, we should, calm down and we should follow Swami. He tried to follow whatever books in the Vahinis, in Sathya Sai Speaks, Satyam Shivam Sundaram, he would read regularly. And then slowly his anger came down and he mellowed to such an extent that when they tell me, it is difficult to believe that my dad was an angry person. And I think the biggest change that we can have in our life is transformation. And we become closer to Swami, we become much closer to Swami when we do as he wants us to. I recall once when we were, when my parents were looking for our marriage proposal, and there was a prospective candidate, and however my parents and all of us felt that we should seek Swami's blessings before, actually we give a nod. And then we were trying to get tickets. That time Swami was in Vrindavan, and we were trying to get tickets, and we were unable to get. It was perhaps summer, and there was a huge crowd. And we tried, 1 week after another, we booked 3 dates. And the first date, it was waiting list, and we could not undertake the journey. And then the second week also, it was the same issue. Still, we could not undertake the journey. And this other family was asking us like, what is happening? You give an answer, and so we were like, we have to take Swami's blessings. And then the third day that we had booked our tickets, still it was not confirmed. Then finally, I came back from office and we are supposed to board the train, and I see my parents telling that no, tickets are not confirmed, let us postpone. And we are like, how long will we postpone? And we were like, no, let us just undertake this journey. Somehow we should go to Swami and get his blessings. And the train was so crowded, and we didn't even have proper place to sit. And then there was this luggage, and it was really like, should we undertake this journey with this much trouble? Was what was going on in our heads. But we knew that somehow we had to go to Swami. And then we went to Vrindavan. Somehow we reached, and Swami came, and he has this magic smile, full of love and so benevolent. Everything gets washed away. All the troubles you had, all the worries you had, everything gets washed away in one single instant. And it's just love, and it's just love with him. And then Swami came, and my father was having our horoscopes and our photographs, and Swami blessed them, and then Swami gave Namaskar also. And then Swami blessed my mother and me too. So we went ahead and happily married still. So thanks to His grace. Not that there are no issues. In every relationship, I'm sure there will be issues. And you have to handle it. So listen to Radio Sai, find a way, pray to Him, do your bit, and you can always find a way out. So actually in every relationship from our childhood, whether it's with our parents, then as we grow up with our siblings, with our friends, and then our spouses, and then our children, and then colleagues at office or neighbors at home. The thing is, it gives us happiness, but you also have expectations. And when at your end you're not able to fulfill the expectations, or at the other end they are not able to fulfill expectations, then we get disturbed. For various reasons we are not able to do it, or you have to balance between two different relations, and then we are somehow disturbed. But I feel the basis for all our relationships should be our relationship with God. It should be like, the garland of flowers. You have the string. It is unseen, but it forms the basis for the garland. So too should be our relationship with Swami, with God. It should be so strong that everything that we do, it should be like, the first thing should be, will Swami be happy with this? If Swami is going to be happy with this, then you should not mind whether it is pleasing or displeasing somebody. That is the way to go. That should be our internal indicator, that will Swami be happy with this? Then that should be your guidance, that should be your compass on what to do. And in fact, once Phyllis Crystal, you might have heard of her. She has written many books also, and she was an ardent devotee of Swami. She had come to Puttaparthi in the 1970s, and there used to be very few people then. And she had come, and Swami usually used to give an interview when they are leaving. So they would call it the farewell interview. And she had come with her husband, and that was their first visit to Parthi. And she was very happy, and she felt blessed to be there. And then when they were called for the interview, she asked Swami, okay, we came here. We are so glad to meet you, and we are so happy. But what next? What should we do next? And then Swami had said, with his usual smile, he had said, you don't have to come back again and again for seeing my physical form. But what you must do is strive to look for my reflection, my counterpart in you. And that is the way forward. And I feel all of us should strive for this. That Swami is here, Swami is next to us, Swami is within us, and Swami addresses us as Prema Swarupulara, Divyatma Swarupulara. He says embodiments of love, embodiments of God. So we should try to remind ourselves again and again about this, like what Swami says we are, and if we are this, what would we behave? And that should drive our behavior day in and day out. And Swami says, no, watch your thoughts, watch your words, watch your actions, watch your thoughts, watch your character, and watch your heart. And if we have a pure heart, and if our intentions are good, and whatever activity we take, whatever the issues that may come, somehow Swami will guide us and we are able to find a way out. Once actually I was reading this book by John Hislop, Conversations with Sathya Sai Baba. And in that I was reading that Swami says, you take one step towards me and I will take 100 towards you. And you put your effort and I am there for you. And I was reading and then I was thinking, Swami agreed, okay, we take a step towards you, you will take so many towards us. We have actually seen that. But we get distracted so often, we intend to follow a particular path, we intend to do a certain thing, and then we get distracted, or we become lazy or whatever. So Swami, please shower your grace on us so that we come closer to you, we walk this path and we come closer to you and we are not distracted and we make a steady progress towards you. Swami, please shower your grace so that we do this. And that day when we were sitting in the darshan line, Swami had a rose with him when he came near me, and he gave Padamaskar and he said, Teesko, and he gave me that rose. And I understood that he is saying, take, you ask me for grace, take it. And I realized that if you want to go forward for a good cause or in your spiritual path, Swami is always there supporting you. And he just knows it and he is there for you. So praying that Swami showers his grace and blessings on all of us, so that we follow the path, we follow his guidelines, we become closer to him and we lead happy, fulfilled, blissful lives. I would like to end this talk. I thank all the organizers who have given me this opportunity. And Swami, again, it is so nice to recall all our memories with Swami and how our lives were enriched and the lessons we learned at his feet. Sai Ram.
Thank you so much, Sister Sai Venkata Lakshmi, for your divine and enlightening sharing. It is amazing how our beloved Bhagavan has such an impact on our daily lives. And I'm sure Sister's experiences have resonated with each and every one of you present tonight. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you all for joining us this evening for this episode of Pathway to Prashanthi, and I look forward to seeing you all at future episodes. We will conclude this evening with some bhajans from our young adults, as well as from Prashanthi, and one led by our one and only Swami, so please do stick around. Thank you all once again. Om Sai Ram.
गोविंद गोपाल जय गोविंद राधे गोपाल राधे गोविंद गोपाल जय गोविंद राधे गोपाल राधे गोविंद गोपाल जय गोविंद राधे गोपाल राधे गोविंद गोपाल Govinda Gopala Govinda Govinda Gopala Govinda Govinda Gopala Govinda Govinda Gopala Govinda Govinda Gopala Sai Govinda Govinda Gopala Sai Govinda Govinda Gopala Sai Govinda Govinda Gopala Radhe Govinda Gopala Jaya Govinda Radhe Gopala Radhe Govinda Gopala Jaya Govinda Radhe Gopala Krishna Madhusudana Madhusudana Krishna Krishna Madhusudana Madhusudana Krishna Krishna Madhusudana Madhusudana Krishna Krishna Madhusudana Madhusudana Krishna Govinda Govinda Gopala Sai Govinda Govinda Gopala Sai Govinda Govinda Gopala Sai Govinda Govinda Gopala Radhe Govinda Gopala Jaya Govinda Radhe Gopala Radhe Govinda Gopala Jaya Govinda Radhe Gopala Govinda Govinda Gopala Govinda Govinda Gopala Govinda Govinda Gopala Sai Govinda Govinda Gopala Radhe Govinda Gopala Jaya Govinda Radhe Gopala Radhe Govinda Gopala Jaya Govinda Radhe Gopala Krishna Madhusudana Madhusudana Krishna Krishna Madhusudana Madhusudana Krishna Govinda Govinda Gopala Sai Govinda Govinda Gopala Sai Govinda Govinda Gopala Sai Govinda Govinda Gopala Radhe Govinda Gopala Jaya Govinda Radhe Gopala Sainath Bhagavan 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 Satyam Shivam Sundaram Sainath Bhagavan Satyam Shivam Sundaram Sainath Bhagavan Satyam Shivam Sundaram Sainath Bhagavan गच्छामि
शरणं गच्छामि
संघं शरणं गच्छामि
शरणं गच्छामि
सत्य साई शरणं गच्छामि
सत्य साई शरणं गच्छामि
सत्य साई शरणं गच्छामि
सत्य साई शरणं गच्छामि
साईनाथ भगवान साईनाथ भगवान
कालातीताय सिद्धिरूपाय योगीश्वराय नमो कालातीताय सिद्धिरूपाय योगीश्वराय नमो कालातीताय सिद्धिरूपाय योगीश्वराय नमो कालातीताय सिद्धिरूपाय योगीश्वराय नमो जगद्धिताय विश्वरूपाय जगद्धिताय विश्वरूपाय जगद्धिताय विश्वरूपाय जगद्धिताय विश्वरूपाय साईश्वराय नमो साईश्वराय नमो सत्य साईश्वराय नमो सत्य साईश्वराय नमो ॐ नमः शिवाय शिवाय 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 नमो कालातीताय सिद्धिरूपाय योगेश्वराय नमो कालातीताय सिद्धिरूपाय योगेश्वराय नमो जगद्धिताय विश्वरूपाय जगद्धिताय विश्वरूपाय साईश्वराय नमो साईश्वराय नमो ॐ नमः शिवाय शिवाय योगीश्वराय नमो।
प्रेम मुदित मन से कहो राम राम राम, राम राम राम, राम राम राम, श्री राम राम राम। दुख मिटे लेत राम नाम,
पाप कटे दुख मिटे लेत राम नाम।
भव समुद्र सुखद नाव एक राम नाम।
भव समुद्र सुखद नाव एक राम नाम।
परम शांति सुख निदान दिव्य राम नाम।
परम शांति सुख निदान दिव्य राम नाम।
निराधार को आधार एक राम नाम।
निराधार को आधार एक राम नाम।
माता पिता बंधु सखा सब राम नाम।
माता पिता बंधु सखा सब राम नाम।
भक्त जनर जीवन धन एक राम नाम।
भक्त जनर जीवन एक राम नाम।
भक्त जनर जीवन एक राम नाम।
भक्त जनर जीवन धन एक राम नाम। राम राम राम, राम राम राम, राम राम राम, श्री राम राम राम। राम राम राम, राम राम राम, राम राम राम, श्री राम राम राम। राम राम राम, राम राम राम, राम राम राम, श्री राम राम राम। राम राम राम, राम राम राम, राम राम राम, श्री राम राम राम। राम राम राम, राम राम राम, राम राम राम, श्री राम राम राम।
ॐ जय जगदीश हरे, स्वामी सत्य साई हरे। भक्त जना संरक्षक, भक्त जना संरक्षक, पति महेश्वरा। ॐ जय जगदीश हरे। शशिवदना श्रीकरा, सर्वा प्राणपते, स्वामी सर्वा प्राणपते। आश्रित कल्पलतिका, आश्रित कल्पलतिका, आपतान्धवा। ॐ जय जगदीश हरे। मातपि పితా గురుదైవము మరి అంతయు నీవే స్వామి మరి అంతయు నీవే నాద బ్రహ్మ జగన్నాథ నాద బ్రహ్మ జగన్నాథ नागेन्द्राशयन ॐ जय जगदीश हरे ओंकार रूप ओजस्वी हो साई महादेवा सत्य साई महादेवा मंगल आरती अंधुको मंगल आरती अंधुको मंगल गिरिधारी ओम जय जगदीश हरे नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण 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 ओम नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम सत्य नारायण नारायण ओम जय सद्गुरुदेवा शांति 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 समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्त लोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु